We are back for part 3 of A Horn for Louie. Last time, remember, we were learning about the junkyard that he works in, where he has to go to help make money for his family. For the third chapter, it's called In the Alley. So be thinking, what in the world is going on in this alley and why do you think it's important? Here we go. The city was waking up. Louis smelled fresh coffee. He smelled the special New Orleans donuts called beignets. The market opened and people called out what they had to sell. Fresh bread! Bread hot from the oven! Watermelon so sweet and ripe. Fresh watermelon! Tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes! Banana, banana! Fish, catfish, come and buy! Each call was like a song. Louis took out his tin horn. He made up tunes to go with the calls that he heard. Alex had a call too. It went rags, clothes, bottles, old iron. Louis made up a tune to go with Alex's call. People liked to hear Louis play. They brought their junk to Alex. Alex paid a penny for a big sack of bottles and tin cans. He loaded the junk in the back of the wagon. You keep playing. I'll load the junk, Alex told Louis. Your horn brings the people. They save their junk for us just so they can hear you blow your horn. Your horn makes people happy. I wish I had a real horn, Louis said. I'd like to play like King Oliver. I'd make lots more people happy that way. That day will come, Alex said. I know it will. For now, you're doing fine. The three of us make a good team. You, me, and Rosie. And my horn, said Louis. He started playing faster. Children came a-running. Louis saw many of his cousins, and he saw many of his friends. Play, Louis, play that horn, they told him. The children loved to hear Louis make music. They searched the alleys for cans and bottles. They put them in sacks. They brought them to the wagon. They danced together in the street while Louis played. Some people even tossed pennies to Louis. Alex picked up the pennies and gave them to Louis. Keep playing, Alex said. A man came walking down the street with his girlfriend. Louis could tell that the man was Sport. Sports were the best-dressed fellows in New Orleans. Most were gamblers. They lived fast and hard. They won or lost hundreds of dollars playing dice or cards. Whoa, sounds kind of scary. Lady Luck must be smiling on this dude, Louis thought. The man wore a fine suit and a brand new hat. His high-buttoned shoes shined as brightly as the diamond ring on his finger and the gold tooth in his mouth. Louis started blowing his tin horn as hard as he could. Listen to that boy play, the sports girlfriend said. He has talent. Yes, he does, the sport said. Too bad he doesn't have a real horn. That tin horn's nothing, just a piece of junk. So you can see Louis is playing in the middle of the street. He's got all of his friends dancing. The people are coming out to see him. And then you've got the people that are walking down watching Louis too. Now, he just called his toy a piece of junk. Do you think that'd make Louis feel very good? Probably kind of sad. Let's see what else happens. The sport reached into his pocket. He took out a coin and tossed it into the wagon. Get yourself a real horn. Louis picked up the coin. It was a silver dollar. Look, Alex, Louis said. A whole buck. We're doing great. 50 cents for you and 50 cents for me. No, said Alex. It's $1 for you. You earned it. That sport liked the way you blew your horn. Louis was amazed. Children would toss pennies to hear him play, but a whole dollar! He couldn't believe it. Now, $1 may not seem like much to you and me, but $1 was a whole lot back then when Louis was alive. What do you think he's going to do with it? What would you do with it? Let's see what happens. If you can make $1 with that little beat-up tin horn, there's no telling how far you could go with a real one, Alex said. Yeah, said Louis. A horn of his own, a trumpet, or even a little cornet. How many more dollars would he need? Alex drove the junk wagon to a part of town called the French Quarter. It was the oldest part of New Orleans, built when the city belonged to France. Some of the houses were so old that they had to lean against each other to keep from falling down. The wagon passed beneath iron balconies that hung over the street. Many Italian people lived in the quarter. They loved music. Hey, bambino, play your horn for us. Louis began to play. People came out on the balconies to listen. Children followed the wagon, dancing in the street. A boy ran up to the wagon. He was older and bigger than Louis. How can you make music come out of that little piece of tin? He asked. It doesn't even have a mouthpiece. Remember, a mouthpiece is the part that you have to put onto an instrument to make it make noise. For trumpets, we practiced doing this in class where you had to put your lips together. And I told you to act like you were smiling like this, and you had to blow the air through it. Remember doing that? That's what he's talking about here. Louis showed him how he held his fingers together and blew through them to make a sound. Without warning, the boy snatched the horn from Louis's hands. "Come back with that!" Alex shouted. Louis jumped from the wagon. "Give me my horn!" he yelled, running after the boy. The big boy laughed and tossed the horn to another boy. Louis ran after him. "Come and get it," the boys yelled, tossing the horn back and forth. It was a game for them, but not for Louis. He needed that horn. Alex couldn't help him. He had to stay with the wagon. Louis had to get his horn back by himself. The boys ran down an alley. Louis ran after them. The alley turned and twisted. Louis could no longer see the boys, but he could hear them laughing. He followed their voices. The alley opened up into a courtyard filled with trash. Ugh. Louis saw the boys gathering in the corner. There were 7 of them and 1 of him. They looked tough. Louis couldn't outfight them. He'd have to outthink them. The biggest boy was trying to play the tin horn. He couldn't get more than a buzz out of it. Louis walked right up to him. "You'll never get it to play that way." "Do you want me to show you how to do it?" Louis asked. "Yeah," the boy said. He handed Louis the horn. The other boys gathered around to watch. Louis ducked between them and ran. The boys chased after him. Louis ran down the alley. Which way should he go? Left? Right? This wasn't his neighborhood. He didn't know the streets. They ran every which way like a tangled bundle of old wire in the back of a junk wagon. The boys were getting closer. Louis knew he was in big trouble if they caught him. Suddenly, he heard a familiar cry. "Rags! Clothes! Bottles! Old iron!" It was Alex calling for him. The junk wagon had to be near. Louis ran towards Alex's voice. The alley opened up onto a street. There was a junk wagon! Louis leaped onto the back and among all the piles of junk. So, Alex has been holding the wagon, hoping that Louis would hear his voice so that he could figure out how to get back to him. The boys stopped in their tracks. Alex stood up holding the cart whip and he used to guide Rosie. "Do you boys want something?" he asked. The boys slunk back into the alley, murmuring to themselves. Alex waited until they were out of sight before turning to Louis. "Are you crazy?" he asked him. "What's the idea? Those boys belong to a street gang. They could have beat you bloody." "I got my horn back," Louis said. "Did you?" said Alex. "Take a look at it." Louis stared at the squished tin tube that used to be his horn. He had fallen on it when he jumped into the wagon. When he tried to straighten it out, the horn snapped in two. "My horn!" Louis screamed. "The horn is kaput. Finished. May it rest in peace," Alex said. "What am I going to do?" Louis wailed. "You'll get a new one," Alex answered. "It's about time. I was getting tired of listening to that piece of junk anyway." "How am I going to pay for a new horn?" Louis demanded to know. "The sport gave you $1. It's a start," Alex grinned. "Let's go shopping." That is the end of chapter 3. Oh my goodness. A lot happened in that chapter, didn't it? So, Louis earned his first $1. And Alex is encouraging Louis to not give up, because that's a start to help him get his new horn. So even though Louis kind of squished his new horn, or his old horn, after the boys chased him with it, it's okay. I bet he's going to get something new. Our next chapter will be chapter 4, the pawn shop. So get ready for next time. Can't wait to see what happens. Bye, guys.